So as soon as I fired up the Laiv Harmony DAC, I expected a subtle shift, especially when compared to my tried and true May DAC. Now, getting straight to the point, what I wasn't expecting was for the soundstage to stretch out so far it felt like the band packed up and started playing from the next zip code.
I told you, Ron, you drop this thing in the chain and it don't just widen the soundstage, it relocates it. Heck, Natalie Merchant sounded like she was performing live from Amarillo while the backup singers were setting up lawn chairs somewhere near Lubbock.
I couldn't have said it any better, Jasper, and with a warm welcome back to New Record Day, say hello to my little friend, also known as the Depth Dealer. Welcome back to New Record Day. My name is Ron, and if you consider yourself an audiophile or a music enthusiast, welcome home. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell notification so you don't miss the next video. Now, in today's video, we're taking the Laiv Harmony DAC for a spin, and yes, this serves as your official ethics statement. Laiv did send me this DAC to review, but all of my thoughts and opinions are my own. There's been no financial compensation and no behind the scenes wheeling and dealing about keeping the DAC in exchange for the review. That's right, folks. Everything I'm about to say is exactly how I feel, and that's that. The Laiv Harmony DAC is a high-performance digital-to-analog converter designed for Series 2-channel systems. It supports PCM up to 32-bit, 768 kHz, and DSD up to DSD 512 with native decoding via USB. You've got all of your digital inputs covered, USB, coaxial, and optical, plus I2S via HDMI for the folks who are running transports or streamers that support it. On the output side, you've got both RCA single-ended and also fully balanced XLR outputs, which of the two, I use single-ended options for most of my listening loaded with GRE search interconnects. The build quality of the Harmony is freaking solid. It feels like a tank and without any kind of cheap plastic to be found anywhere. The DAC is certainly not flashy. It feels like it was designed by someone who cares more about sound than Instagram clout. The front panel is clean with a single knob that handles input switching, and there's also a metal remote in the box and some thoughtful packaging that arrived well protected, clearly laid out, and ready to drop into a system without any fuss at all. Now, as far as the rest of the system, I paired the Harmony with the Gallion TS34, a budget EO34 tube amplifier that continues to punch way above its class. This amp isn't about flash, it's about tone, staging, and soul. As far as speakers go, I used my prototypes, which are getting scary close to production, along with the Zoo Audio methods. Now, these two speakers are very different, but it helped me lock onto all of the flexibility that the Harmony offers, and here, the Harmony never failed. Of course, I did compare the Harmony directly to my reference, the Holo May DAC, and that is a tough matchup for any digital front end, but I gotta say, even at half the price of the May DAC, the Harmony held its ground. Tonally, they're surprisingly similar. Both are natural, organic, and effortless, but the Harmony pulled ahead in one key area. That's right, folks. Depth, that layered holographic space that it builds, it's something else. It felt like the front wall of my room, it just evaporated. So the very first moment that I knew something was unusual and perhaps special about this DAC was happening during Natalie Merchant's Peppery Man. I hit play, and I swear to you, Natalie and her backup singers weren't just in the room, they were way past the shed, having some kind of an enchanted pool party a mile down the road. The stage depth on this thing is bonkers.
Ah, yes, just to give a little context here, folks, what our friend Ron is talking about happened one fine afternoon when our buddy Craig stopped by the sound shed. He'd just come back from Southwest Audio Fest, all buzzed up on tube amps and overpriced cables. So naturally, Ron fires up a few DACs for a friendly shootout. He drops the Harmony in, hits play on Peppery Man, and suddenly gets this look like someone just baked his biscuit. For a minute there, he thought the stage collapsed. But nah, it was just so deep, so far back, it threw off his bearings. Took a little tag teaming, but Ron and Craig figured it out. That little box was throwing a sound stage so deep, it made a walk across Texas feel like a Sunday stroll.
But here's the thing, depth is just one trick. What makes the Laiv Harmony really stand out is how refined and complete it sounds throughout the entire stage, from tip to tail. It is smooth but never boring, detailed but never sterile. There's something very liquid about its presentation that just pulls you in. Vocals sound fleshed out and they sound real. Instruments have air around them without sounding ghostly or hollow, and the tonal balance stays grounded. Nothing feels hyped or etched. And here's the thing that I really want to stress. In the sound shed, where I already have more depth than I even know what to do with, this might not be the go-to DAC for me. But I keep thinking about this. For folks who don't have a sound shed, don't have a ton of room to pull speakers deep onto the dance floor, or have a more practical listening space, this might be the last and final DAC you would buy if you have been trying to get some depth out of the stage, but you always end up short. I know not everyone can yank speakers 9 feet into the room, and that for me is where the depth dealer might be one of the more compelling DACs out there when it comes to knocking down your front wall and, giving you that thing that you've been searching for, where everything just sounds, well, it sounds correct.
If you ask me, Ron, ain't nothing worse than a DAC that hollers at you. You ever heard one of those? Sounds like it's trying to convince you it's good by shouting details straight into your eardrum. This one here? Nah. This one whispers, and you lean in, 'cause you want to hear what it has to say.
And that is exactly how I hear it, Jasper, which reminds me, Rise by Dominique Fils-Aimé was flat out gorgeous. Those layered harmonies just hovered in the room like morning mist. Peppery Man, as we've covered, that was the turning point. But then I cue up something like Dire Straits' Ride Across the River, and just as I expected, we were swimming into the abyss with the depth dealer. Heck, even with something more aggressive or forward like In My Tree by Pearl Jam, blazing electrics never sound like they are sitting on your lap, and regardless of what it is, you have the room, the entire room, to enjoy the performance, which for me is a big deal. Being such a soundstage junkie, I don't like it when things sound like a big wall or a tidal wave that is crashing on you. I like it when things are in their right place, and that is exactly what the depth dealer does, and my goodness, it does it really, really well. And this reminds me, for those of you who caught my recent review of the Zoo Audio Method, you'll remember how lively and forward those speakers can be. Now, pairing them with the Harmony was a bit of an ear opener. The DAC smoothed out some of the direct sound of the methods, and it gave them a more dimensional, layered presentation. It was like someone added depth to the front row. Sure, they still have their punch, but now there was a stage behind them as well. Man, I'm telling you, if you've got speakers that tend to be a little bit more upfront or aggressive, even horn speakers, this DAC might be exactly what brings everything into balance.
I remember Craig sitting back, arms folded, just nodding. Didn't say much at first, but then he looked over and said, "You know, it's like the damn band turned sideways." That's how wide and deep it got. Gave him goosebumps. And you know, he ain't the goosebump type.
All right, let's dive into some sound clip comparisons between my May DAC and the Harmony. All of the clips are recorded straight from the output of the DAC into my Zoom F8n recorder, which makes this as fair of a fight as possible. These files can indeed be played back on your headphones or even your speakers if you like. And I'm curious to see what you guys hear between the two different DACs, so make sure you leave your comments down below. And with that, sound clips. Let's go.
Engineer, where are you headed? Engineer, where are you headed?
No hubiera pensado que yo me iba a enamorar, jamás no quería saber nada más, nunca más. No hubiera pensado que yo me iba a enamorar, jamás no quería saber nada más, nunca más.
And there you have it, folks. No need to be long-winded about this. The Laiv Harmony DAC is for people who are tired of a forward, bright, or in-your-face kind of sound. If you've got a system that just can't seem to break past the front wall, if your music always feels like it's pressed up against the glass, this DAC might be your breakthrough. It's refined, it's revealing, and it invites you into the performance instead of shoving it in your face.
Well now, folks, for what it's worth, old Jasper here reckons if this DAC was a saloon, I'd saddle up and stay a while. Good music, good stage, no barking, just honest sound and a long view. And with that, we will see you, harmony-loving audiophiles, in the next video.